Hello, people, and welcome to day 3 of the bootcamp. Hi, Max,
Hi.
and hi, everyone that's drinking coffee or mostly brown water, whatever you guys are drinking. Yeah, I mean, I totally see you. Welcome to day 3. Absolutely amazing to have everyone. Yes, it is starting. It's actually started. As always, we do have a little lag. Hi, everyone. Say hi in the chat. For everybody who's here for the first time. My name is Maria JD. I'm the community lead at Art Heroes 3D Art Academy. I'm here with Max Puliero, who's with us live from Tokyo, Japan. I mean, I'm saying Tokyo, Japan as if there is another Tokyo. I mean, there's
Yeah.
probably another like 5 Tokyos in the US, maybe 10. So, but just in case, like that's like the Tokyo, right?
Clarify.
Anyways,
Yeah.
and I'm in the EU time zone, so hello everybody who's drinking a lot of coffee. I guess I absolutely feel you, but yeah. So back to today's topic, and I'm gonna leave you like all to Max just in a matter of a couple of minutes. We've got a lot of content today, so the intro is going to be very very short. Today we're going to be talking about detailing, following up on whatever we did in the previous couple of sessions. Correct, Max?
Yes.
Yes, 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 absolutely. So we left it yesterday after we figured out the mechanics, the joints, and did some very important problem solving with the robot that we started. And if you haven't watched day 1 and day 2, you do have replays of the sessions. You also have them in our Discord. If anyone needs Discord link, I'm going to post it right here in the chat. And yes, so today we're picking it up and we're adding more details. Please stay until the end because if you've been following and if you posted something on Discord, you're probably likely to be added to a raffle. So yeah, that would be absolutely awesome if you won the raffle and you were also live on that. So that's going to be happening till the end. Very briefly, rules of the game: post your questions in the chat. Please mark them as question or something, and I'll make sure that we can answer as many questions as possible, either during or closer to the end. But today I'm probably going to be keeping questions to the end because like we just have little time and a lot of content. Max, it's on you.
Yes.
Let me know when you want me to share the screen.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, you can share the screen.
Let's do it then. Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
show you. Whoa, whoa,
Okay.
whoa,
So,
whoa.
yesterday night, before going to bed, I just realized that detailing stuff takes a lot of time, a lot of concentration. So I was like having a panic attack and say, okay, if I just start doing the detailing, I'm gonna do like I don't know, spend an hour to make just a very little small part is going to be like not very appealing. So I spent put the headphones, put some music, and start to do some detailing on my model just to showcase to you guys what I'm aiming to. Okay, so this is the chest part with the circle of the neck, and I made it basically following or almost following the grease pencil guidelines. You can see here, you can see the band on top of this fuel cylinder. You see the hard edge line that I had here, uh, the the flat area that I was just take a note to make it flat. So I just add a detail, just adding stuff. And so the rail, of course, for the shoulder to move. So yes, so just to show you, okay, this is the kind of standard quality line that I put on my models. It's not even that crazy, since the topology is kind of still a low poly. I can subdivide one more and add even more details. But yeah, just wanted to show you what's the direction. Okay, but today we are going to start from scratch. So basically, we are going to close this. Okay, bye bye. And yes, so this is where we was yesterday, right? So I had my grease pencil and stuff. So again, detailing is one of the things that takes time. No matter what's your medium is, if you go in sculpting, you're gonna spend a lot of time on polishing. If you go with poly modeling, you're gonna spend a lot of time on polishing, but in another way. So no matter the medium is something that in the end is going to take time. So let's start it. So basically, I want to focus on the chest, of course, because first of all, is the part that has more detail, and we focused more yesterday with the head. So yeah, the other parts I didn't have time to draw any detail on top. So just let's put some structure on the model, because yeah, we started with spheres and stuff, but you see the lines are not even straight. So there is something that must be addressed. And also, I want to say another thing. We started with the block out, and I call it like a finished block out to work with. But to be honest, in production, when you have a little bit more time to focus on stuff, I will probably dig a little bit more into the first stage block out, so add a little bit more details. Okay, now it's still very, very simple, and is also I want to just say that now we worked only with cylinders and spheres, but of course, if you want to use like a little bit of box modeling to add some specific details that you want from the beginning, is totally fine. So the point of this technique is to not waste time on focusing on details. So try to stay broad as possible, because the detailing is something that is going to happen now. Okay, so how to organize the scene? We have already, we can get rid of this. So I'm gonna call it like a starter pack. Okay, and I'm gonna hide. Oh, already had the collection, but anyway, I'm gonna hide thing here. So the first thing I want to do is have a reference for the rail, since it must be like a straight line. I mean, parallel straight lines. Otherwise, this guy, this shoulder can't move along the line. So to do that, I'm just gonna start with a simple cube. Oh, by the way, this lesson is going to be very, very crashy, since Blender has this bug on the newest version that sometimes when you snap stuff on surface, it just decides to crash. So my suggestion is to save a lot. I updated to the new version, but it's still there. So let's align the cube to the surface. Okay. Of course, the cube is a cube, so the lines are always parallel each other. So something like this. It's just a reference. I'm not gonna use exactly this cube, you know. So it's just a reference. I can even add a couple of loops and do some slide, you know. Just to have it a little bit less invasive. So as you can see, I do not use any gizmo. The gizmo is this thing here. Where is that? Oh yeah, this guy here. I barely use it. I pretty much do everything with the shortcuts. So, but if you guys prefer to use it, it's a totally personal decision. It's a personal choice. I just find it way faster to work without it. So, and let's put this new object in the new collection, I'm gonna call it high. Okay, so and I'm gonna work on the high collection for the rest of the time, basically. So another thing I'm gonna do is, of course, add a mirror modifier using our best friend at the center. And basically, we're gonna do some retop. So there is this misconception that there is sculpting, modeling, and retopo. Okay, so there are three different things that must be handled probably with three different softwares. This kind of approach. To be honest, I find it to be one single thing. Okay, in the end, are just three tools that helps to handle a mesh, right? So there is no much difference in what they do in the end. It's just a way to handle polygons. So the cool thing about Blender is that it's probably not the master in any of these fields, but it's pretty much very good at all of them. So that's why I tend to stay in Blender as much as possible. So now, when I start snapping, you see now I'm moving. Since the snap is activated, I just move, and of course the polygons are going to be snapped to the surface. Okay, I'm not using, by the way, this polygon for the reason that you see the topology is a little bit fucked up. So I prefer to have a more clean, since I have to follow these lines here, I prefer to have something more. Oh, by the way, what happened to my cylinder? Ah, that's a good question. I have to retrieve. Let me see. Oh, that's interesting. I probably deleted when I made the. Oh yeah, I'm gonna bring it back from the other file. Anyway, so what happened? What's happening here is that basically I barely see what's going on in my model. So if you watch tutorials online, they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, you should put the shrink wrap," but no. I mean, yeah, of course you can use shrink wrap, but I I actually find way more intuitive and way more stable to work just at the displace. So just displace a little bit the mesh, and that's it. You don't, you get the same result of the shrink wrap, and you don't have problem to assign a specific mesh to the to the shrink wrap modifier. So it's going to stay above the mesh no matter what. So and another thing is I'm going to stay as low poly as possible. Okay. So like this kind of low polyness. I saw some other tutorial. I mean, I don't want to bash all the all the other tutorials, but I feel that most of the time they just teach something very wrong. I see like tutorials where guys start to retop stuff at this scale. I mean, if you retop at this scale, first of all, it's going to take forever. Second, your mesh is going to be blobby, no matter what. I mean, you have too many polygons to take care of. But to be honest, this is the kind of thing that subdivision surface is usually taken care of. So why adding so much polygon from the very beginning if you have something that does it for you, basically? So just stay as low as possible in the beginning and add the details later on when it's needed. Maybe apply one level of subdivisions. So I'm gonna use most of the time keep corners. So basically it's going to keep the corners. Otherwise, by default, is all, which sometimes it's okay, but some other time it's not the actual behavior you want. So in my case, I just keep the corners. I find it more convincing for my workflow. So let me bring the cylinder back from the other model. So I uh, uh,
Max,
yes.
shortcuts.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks,
Sorry.
guys, for the reminder. Yes,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
also did notice. Yeah.
Yeah. Just say it because I gonna forget it all the time. So it's this one maybe. It's yes, it's this one.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I lost the uh, the original cylinder. Okay, but I mean, yeah. Let me just copy this. Okay, there is a function in Blender for people not coming from Blender that you do Control C. There is copy objects, and basically you close it and you do Control V and you have it in whatever scene you want. So it's super fast. Okay, I totally recommend to use it. So there is one thing though, is that is going to duplicate, for example, if you have a mirror modifier which is related to the center empty that we created in the very beginning. This system is not smart enough to understand that there is already a center in the scene, so it's going to copy also the center from the previous scene and put it in the new one. So you see that now I have a 00 center point 001, which is a copy, and I don't want that. I want to use the old one. So you should there is a shortcut here on the right click. You do jump to target, and this is going to automatically select your empty. You delete it. Of course, now I lost the symmetry. I just recall the center, and you clean up the scene pretty much. After that, I mean, later on, I'm gonna remake the cylinder. For the moment, just keep this as a reference. And before go ahead, let me create a material. Okay, just give it like another color so it's easier to understand what's going on. And let's assign the same material to the cylinder here, like we did, like we had in the other scene. Link material, and that's it. So you see that it's still crashing. Okay, there are some software that and also some plugins in Blender that actually prevent this happening. But actually, I prefer to have this kind of feedback, so I know when stuff are crushing each other. Okay, so maybe I have to add a little bit more detail, and say, okay, now it's better. But at this stage, I don't really need it. So let me go ahead. Now I have something like this. So this is I'm trying to following the first shell. Okay, here. So for example, the shell ends up here, so I don't want to go over this line. Let me snap this here a little bit. So you see, it can be boring and time consuming, but that's the reason why we draw the lines, okay? Because you notice that when what I'm doing here, I'm super close up to the model, so I totally lost the macro view, of the entire shape, because I'm focusing on details basically. So if I didn't have the guidelines, I was totally basically blind. Okay, so guidelines help to that. So to always have a reference of what we're doing. So please use Grease Pencil as much as possible. It's a super duper amazing tool. So this line here, I don't know if you remember, guys. It should be like the sharp line. So that's why I'm trying to following the loop here. Okay, so by the way, if there is any question, please let me know.
I think so far we're good, but
Okay.
I'm gonna use the tiny space in the chat, just actually to ask everyone a question from my end, because since you guys are not typing yet, yeah, I've got a question to everyone. Like, I'm curious, what do you guys where are you guys at, and why are you interested in learning more about hard surface specifically? Like, is it about a project that you're working on? Is it just curiosity? Is it like your passion? Is it your style? Just like why yeah, just like tell us a little bit, so basically why you're here. Yeah, and yeah, just something so that we also know, yeah, where's everyone's interest coming from. And yeah, just type something in the chat. That would be awesome. All right. Yeah. um Max, if you're curious, I don't know if you see the chats, but I know that you don't have
I
time for
don't.
reading the chat. I don't. I know. I know. I
Yeah.
know. I can. Like, let you know what's going on there.
Yeah.
Matthias would like to create a mesh of suits for his 3D characters,
Of
and
course.
Sequoia to keep yourself more themselves, more like what, well-rounded as a character modeler. Yeah, and I see some more people are typing. Meanwhile, we also have a question. Um, the question is, how are you able to see the edges so clearly?
Oh, here. Oh, there is first of all there is the displacement, and secondly there is a trick in Blender that is not a thing related to Blender, but basically you can play with the clip start and clip end to I don't remember which one is which. Oh yeah, okay. So it's basically the more you go up. I don't remember, but you have to play with those two numbers. That's another reason why I use big scales, because this effect is basically comes out automatically. So, but yeah, basically you have to play with the clip start and clip end. I don't remember which one is which to see more the edges. There is another way, okay, which is you go here and you go always in front. That is basically how other software behaves. And be sure to have the back face culling activated, otherwise it can be very confusing. Okay, so back face culling activated. So the shaded part is what is front, and those basically transparent parts are what is on the back face. Okay, so on the other side. I know that this way is way more clear. Okay, but I have two problems here. The first one, I don't see when if the mesh is crashing badly inside the guideline blockout, and also I lost the visibility of grease pencil. So that's why I prefer to not use the in front option and play more with the clip start and clip end. Okay. So, by the way, there is a thing that I wanted to hear. So now we have this kind of like a circular shape. Okay. So in Blender, there is this thing that when you can add an object, like you can add like a cylinder or something, and create this specific shape. But to be honest, if you are in edit mode and you press Shift A, you can add like a circle or whatever mesh you like. Okay, and this mesh is going to show up at the cursor position. Okay, and you are already in edit mode. You change the size of the mesh, and you already have basically your circle ready to use here. Now let me turn off the snap a second. Okay, one is aligned a little bit. So now you have a perfect circle ready to be used. And now you can snap to the underneath surface, and you can, you can start from here. So as you can see, I didn't put like I don't know, a 16 face circle or a crazy amount of details. Even here, I mean, 6 is the bare minimum number of edges to get something really close to a circle. So 5 is, it's a number that it's really hard to handle. So I like 6, 8, 10, 12, this kind of numbers. I say even number. So yeah, let me add a loop here. So the downside of using the displays instead of a shrink wrap is that when you add a loop, like in this case, you have to resnap, okay, manually. It's not something that takes a huge amount of time, but still. So again, it's depending on the situation, depending on your style, on your way to work, but yeah, it can be a personal choice. That's it. So I'm going ahead. So as you can see, it's a little bit time consuming, as I said in the very beginning. So one thing that I like to add at this moment is a bevel modifier, which is this one. Okay, that the bevel modifier must be placed before the subdivisions. Okay, and it works by default using the angle. Okay, so in this case it's 30 degrees. So every angle that is sharper than 30 degrees is going to be like beveled, like this edge in this case. Or you can specify by yourself basically what's the edges to be beveled are going to be. So in this case, following the edge loop is this one. So I have a shortcut to it, but you can do, I think, right click. I mean, I have on the right click. I should be on the right click also by default. And you have edge bevel weight under here. So you click and you start dragging, and you see, that is going to be highlighted. And so basically, if you check inside the item palette here, you're going to see that when you select an edge, you have this bevel weight value that in this case is to 1. If I select another edges that doesn't have any bevel assigned to it, you're going to see that is 0. Okay, so it's a float value, so the range is from 0 to 1. And the effect is when we change from angle to weight, now we get this sharp line. And since it's the modifier, I do not physically add any, let me turn off. Okay, so I still have one vertex that control the bevel. So no matter how much I stretch, it's going to be the thickness of the bevel is going to be consistent. I can make it a little bit larger. Okay, I can add some subdivision. Okay, and now I got this. And if I reapply the smooth, I get this very cool, cool sharp line that is something that I really wanted from the very beginning. So, and I can continue with the stuff. So it's, I mean, most of the time when you check on YouTube, yes.
I'm just gonna, throw you another question here before you continue, if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So Brian is asking, what do you think is the most trickiest or complex shape to model as a hard surface artist in Blender? Brian is not a donut. Sorry, spoiler.
Yeah, right. Definitely, this kind of stuff is the most difficult because you have to handle curved surface and keep it as hard surface looking.
Yeah.
So that's the trickiest part.
Don't
So
worry, guys. We're getting you like, only hardcore stuff. Just brace yourselves. I
yes,
mean,
yes, because
yeah.
yeah, most of the time you see, you know. Oh, let me work a little bit on this cylinder, by the way. So I'm gonna make an instance. No, I'm gonna make a duplicate. Okay, I'm gonna reset the rotation, and so I gonna start from scratch, right? Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to. Uh, so I put the cursor over there. I create another cylinder, and I lower the subdivision maybe to 16. Okay, and I'm going to. Oops, I'm going to remake this. Okay, so I have recreated the low poly basically. So I'm gonna get rid of this one, and I'm gonna select this and copy location and copy rotation, and boom. I can start again from scratch for the pleasure to do that. So I'm gonna duplicate it and put in the high and the same material. And so I can start from scratch. But first of all, let me show up the. Oh yes. So for example, in this case, I'm not gonna use the retop, okay, because it doesn't make any sense. So this is one of the cases that makes way more sense to just this guy. Wait, this guy here must go in the low. So since I already have a nice flow of polygons, makes way more sense to just start from here. You know what I mean? So I just duplicate it, and I join this mesh to my previous mesh, and boom, I can start from there basically. And I already have basically the bandage. Let me just to make it a little bit more clear, I just activate the cavity map in the shading palette. Turn on the outline so it's clear when a mesh ends and the other is going to start. And so now we have the cylinder that is in this position, but which is, I mean, we can work with that. But since we still have the rotation information, I prefer to make an instance with Alt D, reset the rotation like I did before, and work with in orthographic way, which is I think faster. So as you see, when I modify this one, also this one is going to be modified. So modified. So you always have an instant feedback. It's not even that when you release the mouse, you're gonna get it. It's really, really real time. So it's not that hard to work in this way. And I think it's faster. So I personally prefer to work this way most of the time. So now I'm adding details. So the thing is, though, that for example, now I added this detail here. I don't know where are those polygon in this model here. So so if you select the polygon here, okay, and you just skip the selection, and then you go out in object mode, you get in edit mode. In the other one, it keeps the selection since it is an instance, I make something like this, and I add the bevel modifier. to add this kind of modifier, there is the hard ops add-on that does that with one click. But today I am trying to stay vanilla as possible. So yeah, let me turn off the clamp overlap. It's something that I don't need it. And let's smooth, and also let me add.
Matt,
Okay.
do you remove the poles of your topology at the end, or do you leave them like this?
Again,
Do you remove the poles of your topology at the end? It's
the poles, you mean
a question
what
from
poles?
Matthias. Matthias, do you want to clarify what do you mean by the poles of the topology?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem.
So there is one thing that when you work with instance, the geometry is instantiated, but the modifier are not. So you have basically copied the modifier from this one to this one. Okay, no big deal. So you select this and Control L, modifier, and boom, it's done. So I'm adding details here. For example, these kind of things, it's 100% personal taste. Of course, you have to have a little bit of taste. During the full course, I'm trying to dig into it, of course. But yeah, it's something that basically you have to develop by yourself. Someone can teach you, but it's mostly a personal kind of thing. So you can learn, but the final touch is going to be on yourself. So
Oh yeah. So Matthias clarified the poles meaning one vert that connects with 5 lines. I think it's talking about, like the cylinder.
the n-gons.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the n-gons is going to be. Angles are not really a huge problem, at least at this stage. But yeah, I clean up at the very end. Also, there is one thing to consider, that I'm doing the cleanup with in mind that the project is done for a game. Okay, so in the end, what is going to happen? I'm going to spoil something that I was aiming to say kind of the end. Is since the topology is kind of clean, and since um, the poly count of games nowadays, it's really really high in games. So a boss or a main character or even a sub character can be easily like 80,000 triangles. So the idea is that we're doing this kind of stuff because we are going to be able to pretty much reuse this topology in the game. Okay, so just with a little bit of optimization, so you don't have to waste time into retop everything on top again. So it's so as long as it's looking cool in shading and I can subdivide it, I do not really fix the n-gons. If the project was for a cinematic, then that's another story, because of course the topology matters. So matters more. So probably I have to clean up the angles. Yeah. If that was the question. Or maybe it was this one, the poke in the face like this. Yeah. So, but yeah, so the idea is that this is the high poly, but is also something that is going to helpful for the final in-game model. Yeah, so you can totally reuse that. for the in game. So let me go ahead. So for example, for this part here, okay, I think I can reuse it. So let me duplicate it and let me put oh, let me copy the material and copy not the modifier, copy copy the collection. So I have this guy here. The problem is that the topology is not really following anything. So one thing you can do is using these. Of course, you can manually retop it, which is fine. You can start from here and do a basic retop. But sometimes I use the quad remesh add-on. That is something that I forgot to say, but it's really a must-have add-on that is the same developer of the ZRemesher of ZBrush. So basically auto retop. Okay, in Blender it costs I guess $100 if I'm not wrong. But what it does is like straight up the topology of meshes. I hope to get something more like this instead of like this of what we have now. Let's yeah, 600, 800,000 maybe. And let's remesh it and let's see if we get something. Not really, but a little bit better. So I'm gonna keep it and oh yeah, but it's cool because I can remove some loops and keep only what we need. Okay, so better than before at least. Okay, so let me copy the mirror modifier and the subdivision. And let's go ahead. So again, as you're probably noticing, it's something that you have just to make. You know, you just sit down, put some good music, and go ahead. And yeah, no matter what's the software, what the technique is going to take some time. The
Meanwhile,
good thing
Mattia's
is
saying
that
that yes, you answered the question, so everything is great.
okay, cool, nice to hear. So, for example, here I had in mind to keep this area here like flat. So there is a free add-on that is already installed in Blender that is called Loop Tools. Blender from since forever, I guess. That is under, I guess, context menu. You have to activate, of course, in the add-on. It's called Loops. Oops. Loops tool is this one. So you activate it and it's going to show up here inside Loop Tools, and there is this flatten option that basically makes stuff flat according to the average normal. Okay, there are a bunch of options, you know, influence, so you can decide how much, on which prioritize what everything. So even the view, you know, is flattening considering the camera view. So there are a bunch of options. I made my custom shortcut of 3 of the most used, like to circle, to flat, and to curve. So since it's something that I use a lot, so I'm gonna try to keep this guy as flat as possible. Because in the end, it doesn't need to be 100% flat. The thing that it's important is that you give the impression that it's flat. Okay, so it's again, it's CG. We are doing like entertainment, so we are not going to, you know, to mass producing this model as a real robot, right? So you need to give an impression, basically. So this face is flat here, so I can do what I did. I can. Okay, now it's way clear that it's flat. I can detach. Okay, I can remake the panel that I did in the. Let me remove the displays. Let me remove. No, it's fine. Okay, and oops. Yeah, so since there is the displays on this mesh, this guy here now looks like a little bit inside, but the point is that we are going to remove the displays later on, and now it's just to uh, to have a better view of what's going on. So just let's keep in this way. And as I was saying before, as you can see, sometimes I model, sometimes I retop, I add meshes. So to me, retop is not another thing. It's like something that goes all together with the other modeling features. Um, okay. So for example, I want to straight a little bit this line here. I can use the sculpt tool and drag the couple of polygons, So it's it must be seamless. Okay, so in my mind. Okay. The cool thing about the bevel modifier is that you here define the largest amount of the bevel modifier distance, but if you go into the tools, into the item, you can now it's 1, so it's like 28 centimeters, but if you go down, and put it at 0.5, now it's 14. Okay, so it's very, very like flexible. So I have this guy inside. Perfect. So for example, I want to see, I want to have a little bit more of this line following here, just for the sake of having a line to follow, maybe to sharp a little bit. You can do this kind of stuff. It's not forbidden. You can add a loop. You can bring those guys down here, and it's going to be fine. So yep, is this kind of now I recreated. You see, before I had this interruption here, but by merging this guy in the center, I recreated the loop, so I can add stuff. And while sliding, okay, I don't know if you know, guys, but when you have an edge loop, by pressing 2 times the G button, you start the sliding, okay, in one of the other direction. And if you press the E button, it's going to be like following one of the two line. In this case, the top one, you see. But if you press, I guess what F flip is going to say to follow in the other one, So it's really, really good to make kind of hard surface detail. Okay, so sometimes I use the bevel, sometimes I add just another loop depending on the mood, basically. So, and there's a constant like hiding, the correction. One thing you can do if you have 2 monitors, okay, and it's actually something that I really suggest to do, is create a duplicate, okay, of the viewport, and in there is around here, like you press local collection and you hide the stuff you don't need. Okay, so when you work you always have a clear view without the underneath mesh. So you always have a clean feedback of what's going on. Of course, I'm gonna put here in the second monitor, and you guys are not able to see it, but yeah, please, if you don't have a second monitor, get one, because it's something really, 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 really needed. So, for example, here I need a sharp edge. So what I'm going to do is, to be honest, uh, I just Control Shift B, and I add a little bevel. It's going to generate an hang-on, but it's fine. I mean, I need it to have a sharp looking edges, and it's probably I'm going to do the same. If you don't want to add the bevel, you can add with the knife tool. You can add just just a vertex here, and you can delete the edge. Oops, dissolve the edge and uncheck dissolve vertices, so you keep the vertex here. So, or you can subdivide. In this case, 2 times. So one, it's you put here. The other one you put here. It's temporary, but it helps to give a better feedback on what's going on. So you see, I mean, I did while talking and try to do stuff. It's almost an hour, and I did pretty much nothing. But that's the way. So one thing that I want to say that, for example, this part here is another physical part, and I like to have it as a detached. So what I usually want to do is start the retop, okay, on top like this. Try to follow a little bit the guidelines, of course. And after I have this base, okay, I duplicate this part here. So I kind of already following the other mesh topology. Okay, I just push in a little bit the old one, so this one is going to stay on top, and I continue from here. I mean, it's not necessary, but again, considering that I want to reuse as much as possible this mesh for the low poly, having something continuous, it's going to help a lot in the end. So again, when I start the model, I always start it with the final goal in mind. Okay, so if I have to make a model for game, I start with this kind of approach. If I have to make a model for a cinematic, I probably take care about other stuff. So it's always important to understand what's the final goal, because the approach can be very different. If it was for a collectible, for example, I probably take even less care about topology, and even less care about having a flow of polygons that following whatever shape. I probably just jump into sculpting and try to polish it the bare minimum possible to have something decent for the 3D printing. So I mean, I have no expertise in 3D printing, but I mean, I did just a couple of jobs. I didn't take care about the actual production, so I don't really know. But yeah, it's basically depending on what's the production is. So there is no specific rule. It's really project dependent. Let's think this way. So oops. If there is any question, or if you have like even if you disagree with me, just let
Yeah,
me
like
know. It's I mean, it's
let's
fine.
open a fight. Yeah.
It's fine. Everyone has
I
its own
think,
thing,
like
right?
it's what the guys are saying that watching hard surface is addictive. So, which I agree. I'm just like, I totally find myself just watching the polygons move. And yeah, but we have a question here also that is not polygon related. But again, you probably already know that I love this type of questions. When moving to other countries for work, do you find a job first and then figure out the move? Or do you move first and gamble on finding a job? Okay, Max, what's your take on this?
It's I think it's very related to your age and how much are you able to sacrifice yourself. I would say that after 30 you find a job and then you move.
Yeah,
In my personal experience, I moved when I was 23 years old, and I worked in a restaurant. Okay, and going home and working freelancing CG stuff before actually landing in a company. So but I was 23, so it was fine even sleeping on the floor. I think after, when you get like 30 or something, it start to be, you know, come really
sleeping on the
really.
floor is annoying, and working in a
Yeah,
restaurant is
yeah,
also a
yeah,
little bit
right.
more annoying. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
So I think it's really, really, and also in this industry, since it's like, yeah, it's tough. A lot of young folks are in the market right now, so it's yeah, can be tough. So I would say, if it's possible, of course, find a job and then move. But I think you have more choice to just move and then look for a job. Or maybe you can find something remote, which is not impossible, but it's
Yeah.
based on your skills. Okay.
Yeah, but
So
you know
now
what?
that
I'm
yeah,
just gonna throw 3 cents or 5 cents here into that. Like,
yes, yes, yes,
basically,
yes.
only one thing that you can probably control is the level of your quality. And like we had this great discussion recently with one of our mentors at Art Heroes, and it was basically around the same topic, like how do you go about like what goes first. And like he had suggested, like the technique that he used actually to jump um, professions, well, not professions, but actually going from like architectural visualization
Mm-hmm.
to an artist is basically like comparing your portfolio with people that work in the studios that you're aiming at. And if you're far, like and you can ask for help. If you're far, like even if you're living in the same city, it won't get you closer to a job. But if you're just there, that means that you have chances. So it means that like look for someone on ArtStation, and let's say another, like if you want to be a character artist, or like and see if your quality, meaning like somebody who works for a studio in that location, or like your dream destination, your dream studio, and see if you can get it, like just from the level of looking at the level of your skills. Yeah, I think it's just you can't control if you're hired, but you can control the level of your skills. So yeah, it's probably
Yes,
it's the real
exactly.
thing. Yeah.
That's yeah, it's yeah, depending on your experience, it's a lot of factors and also luck. I mean,
Yeah.
there is also that. I mean, you have to build your own luck, of course, but there is also that. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's also your personality, because if you are a cool guy, maybe you're not the best, but you're a cool guy. You looks like you are affordable and you are reliable, which is actually a very good thing, because in this industry, maybe you find amazing people, but that they can't finish the job on time. They're always in late, this kind of stuff. So they're not reliable. So they basically end up without any, even they are super skilled, it's really hard for them to find a contract.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
And then also Ben is asking, how do you balance having a job while trying to freelance? What kind of work do you typically find while freelancing? I think that's also a really good question.
Well, I have a company. Okay, first of all, so there is no more like this. Oh, back in the days when I was working in a restaurant, or like nowadays. Uh,
Well, I think, let's go to like back in the day, for example, because now
okay.
probably it's very different. I assume you get like the same high-end projects, sorry.
Yeah, I mean now it's just every, since I have my own company, so I just take the job, and I have a
Yeah.
few guys working in the company, and we do it. So there is no more like freelancing and stuff. But back in the days when I was working in a restaurant, what happened is that you work in the restaurant, and you work on your freelance project during the night, and you sleep on the floor. So basically, that was it.
So what kind of
Um,
projects that was?
yeah, but back in the days
I mean,
was
I guess
like a,
there was no like huge platforms, so it was
oh
still.
no, 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 no! It was much more some, of course, architectural visualization, because we have to think that at that time we're talking about 2006, 2007. So indies were not a thing yet. So it was much more like I have a couple of connections and making a couple of jobs on yeah, product visualization, or like modeling of something maybe related to, again, to product design, because I was coming from there. And but yeah, after, I don't remember exactly, after a year or
Yeah.
something, I got my first like a stable job in a company. So I just moved from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, stop. I pretty much stopped modeling at this moment. I think also we are. I wanted to show a lot more stuff and explain a lot more things, but we're really running out of time
Yeah,
here.
but
So
I'm gonna just ask people who are here if you guys take freelancing jobs, like just share in the chat what kind of projects that you are working on. I mean, just let's see if I think it's also interesting to see what you guys are doing. Just if anyone freelances on the side nowadays besides your like day job, whether it's an artistic day job or just like a regular day job, what type of projects do you tend to get? Yeah, and if you can share any recommendations, I think that would be also pretty useful to get some, like community tips here. Yeah. Anyways, didn't want to distract you too much, Max.
yeah, no, no. I mean, it's totally fine. But nowadays, I actually, in my free time, when I do not make my own projects, I still help people. I mean, if someone contacts me on ArtStation and is working on some cool prototype of a game, and I like the idea, I sometimes I just help those people out just for the sake that I love making. I love doing what I do, for a living. So I mean, I think all of us started this job as passion first, So I didn't meet anyone that doing Excel for fun, right? So, but we do this for fun. So to me, even is it's a little bit a taboo conversation. CG is first of all a passion. So I cannot really imagine myself. It's not like 8 hours job, and after that I quit and start to do something totally different. Otherwise, I mean, I will do something totally different. It's not a job you do to get rich, to be honest. You can make good
Yeah.
money, you can make decent money, but it's not something that, oh yeah, I'm going to do CG, so I'm gonna get rich, you know. So passion is must be on top of everything. And I think even if I did not land it to get a job in the first place, I probably continue to do like CG in my spare time, my free time. So I think
Yeah.
this is the attitude, you know. So if you just too focus on, oh yeah, I need absolutely a job, whatever, you know, no matter what, then you end up to do something that you don't really like. Okay, so you have to set on one side, of course, you want to get into the industry as soon as possible and do it for a living. But on the other side, I think you should also try to put a, you know, a bar on what you like and what you don't like, you know. So because I did this mistake by myself. So I my first gig I got was this company that did you know, I had to do everything like modeling, animation, compositing, even you know, send the DVD to the television to for the broadcasting, you know. So call the company to come and pick the fucking DVD. So it's not something that you want to do. You're gonna lose passion, you know, if you do for 3 years working 7 days a week, you know, night and day, and to do yeah, of course you're doing CG, but it's not the kind of CG you like. So in that case, I probably, you know, I don't know if I regret the decision because I learned stuff even over there, but I didn't have time even to work on my personal projects and stuff. So finding the other job after I was working in that company was very hard because I didn't have time to polish my skills because I had to work too much on shitty projects. So it took a while, it took 3 years, you know. And after that,
Yeah.
I got the job in Digital Frontier, which is one of my, I mean, it's still one of my favorite company, and I still work for them. I did. I don't know if you know, guys, because it's for it was for the internal market, but I did the Gantz movie, the that was on Netflix, I guess. Couple,
Yeah.
yeah, I did like I worked for like a Tekken franchise, Metal Gear. I worked for a lot of crazy stuff, but yeah, I thought, okay, if I was still in the restaurant, probably I got more time to polish my skill, and maybe not 3 years, but 1 year was enough to land to my dream company, uh, you know, position. But you never know. I mean, it's in the end is something that you have to try by yourself. So yeah, I yeah. So it's, I think it's pretty much it. I try to do to to do some detailing. So the point here, to recap, we did the very low poly, which is too much low poly. Okay, ideally you add a little bit more detail to at this stage, so you spend a little bit more time. Then if the shape you have you like, then you move. Next, you draw on top some guidelines. So when you start to actually adding details, um, you know, you can do it. These guidelines you can convert in Polygon. You can bring in ZBrush, for example. I use them as guideline in ZBrush too. I mean, and you can just use the sculpt tool. You know, it's this can be a thing. It's not something that it's wrong. You know, it's a personal taste. So and after that, when you have this, ideally maybe in 2 or 3 days, 4 days stop. Um, you start with the detailing. Now I spent 1 hour, but ideally, you know, if you just get focused and you don't have to talk and you are in a good mood, you end up with something a little bit cooler, which is something like the thing that I did yesterday, for example. So
Cool.
I
Cool.
think
So this
that's it.
whole thing just, this took you about an hour and a half, I think you mentioned before, right?
Yeah, it is around, but for me, because this is
Yeah, yeah.
kind of my style, I'm pretty used to it. So yeah, kind
Cool.
of, yeah,
Yeah.
1 hour and a half, 2 hours, or something like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, guys, then and girls, I guess this is the wrap. Like like we've covered so much, and I think I'm actually really really impressed by the amount of work that's been done over the 3 days. If you think that we started from blank canvas and like arrived to a lot of detailing, like this is great. Like somebody is okay, Ben is asking if there is a chance we could see a wireframe of this piece.
I don't know. Yes, of course. It's it's this kind of stuff.
Okay, yes. Yeah, a lot of people asking
So
about the
you
wireframe.
see that, yeah, this is trying to follow. I have maybe a couple of edge loops added here and there, but I try to keep consistent as possible. And of course, for this part here, since there is a lot of details, probably this stuff actually is going to be end up in the normal map only anyway. So I didn't care too much.
Yeah.
So
And I'm gonna throw you probably last question before
go
we
ahead.
completely this wrap this up. And I also promised a real quick raffle because everybody worked so hard. So let's see, like what we can do. So yeah, the last question here is, what's your process once you finish with the detailing? For rendering and showcasing the finished work. So maybe you can just like like walk us through like your pipeline real quick.
Yeah, again, depending on what I'm aiming for. I'm always at work. I'm always in the middle of of the pipeline. Okay, so there is not actually a showcase. Most of the time, you just have to render a turntable, right?
Okay.
So for the art director or whatever, and most of the time there are some rules. So basically you have to use a specific maybe HDRI or a specific I don't know level inside Unreal. Okay,
Yeah.
so everybody, all the character team provide the same kind of scenario for the feedback, so it's easy to compare what's going on. When I do personal stuff, I actually most of the time do not real time. I prefer to dig to to raise the bar a little bit and do and actually render stuff or in Blender or in Maya or whatever. Do proper texturing, so it's going to take a while. So yeah, that's. But maybe
Yeah.
yeah, for this kind of stuff, I think even having this, since it's a modeling, you want to show the model. It's even fine to have a viewport like this. It's fine. If you check a work of this guy called Tony Work, I don't know if you know him, was kind of
Mm-hmm.
popular back in the days. Nowadays, I don't see any any work from him anymore. But basically, if you check his art station that I can link
Tony work.
somewhere
Yeah.
in the chat. Yeah, can I?
Yeah. You
Can
can just
I?
post it in the comments.
I cannot.
Okay. Well, I can probably find him, Tony work, and link.
Yeah, yeah. If you see all the art surface, if you go down, most of the stuff is just viewport rendering. Just that. That's it. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's fine. I mean, if it looks cool, if the modeling is cool, you don't need a fancy lighting and stuff to showcase it. You know, of course, if you want to do it, it's fine, but you have to do it the right way. Otherwise, the chance that it looks worse than it actually is are pretty high. Because you have to know how to put lights and stuff.
Yep,
So yeah.
yep, yep. Yeah, I just shared the link, guys. So, yeah, to Tony's art station here in the chat. Okay, since we're out of time, as promised, I'm just, like gonna see what's going on there with Discord, and we have just pressed the button to, randomly get somebody's whip from everybody has who's been posting. And I don't know if the person is on the stream or not, but basically what's going to happen, like we're getting since 3D printing has been mentioned a bunch of times during all these streams, we're going to get free access to our 3D printing program. And yeah, just reach out to us, and let me see who this person is. So it's somebody called Right Click 99. So if you're here, raise your hand. If you are not here and where you're watching the recording, please reach out to us on Discord. Anyone from Art Heroes team, we're going to get you the 3D printing program. And to the rest of you guys, so that was like a round of applause for Right Click 99. Thank you everyone else for posting your webs. It's been awesome to watch everybody progress. But I think the main thing is that you really did yourselves a huge favor by practicing and following along, Max. So as we've been mentioning here, there is definitely the continuation of the boot camp. So Max is going to join us for a hard surface character mastery program that is going to start pretty soon. So it's going to be announced within the next few hours. So if you guys are curious, definitely go check it out, because we'd love to see as many of you as possible with us again, because it's a great community, and we'd love to get together again and do a lot more. Yeah. So Max, anything else for today on your end? Yeah.
I mean, I can.
Yeah,
I thought
sorry.
like I would be able to explain to dig way more and yeah, showcase way more stuff. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
kind
that's
of feel
it.
sorry about that. But yeah,
Yes,
so
yes. Here's the somebody was asking about the Discord link, and if there will be more workshops like this, there probably will be more workshops like this. Just stay tuned. We always announce it, and yeah. Um, there is always something. It's not like in the program yet, but we typically announce it like kind of a couple of weeks before something starts. And yes, we do host regular events. We probably have a bunch of veterans here from our other events. Yes. Yeah, and the hard surface program is also going to have obviously live sessions and recordings and everything. I'm going to send you all the information by email, so just stay tuned. As soon as everything is live, you're gonna get access, and probably also bootcamp participants are getting a little early bird discount for the first days or something like that. So just like stay tuned. Yeah, Max, thank you so much for joining us
thank
on the
you.
bootcamp.
It was a
It's
pleasure.
been, it's been, yeah, no, it's been a pleasure having you, guys. I mean, thank you also, and yeah, but primarily thanks, Max, for like running the show. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. We'll see you all again, and I'm kind of sad to say bye because it's over, but it's not over. So yeah, stay in touch, and I'm gonna close the room. Please, make something good out of what you started, and if you do, show us what you've got. Let's let's continue working on this model. It would be cool to wrap it up. Alright, guys. Bye bye, and
Bye. Thank you.
see you. Ciao.